Happy Friday afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Ted Keller. I wanted to bring you a heads up again for the Ozarks for the threat of severe storms and heavy rain. And the heavy rain is accumulative, of course, for the next several days. And the severe storms are going to come and go in several different important waves. So I want to make sure we emphasize that as well. So it's Friday. So let's start with the first actually activity here, and that's going to be a severe weather threat for today. So the yellow area is the 2 out of 5 risk area that covers all of the Ozarks. It's not meant for now. It's not even meant for maybe even dinner time. But right after that, let's say around 6 o'clock, some of the cells will start developing in Oklahoma probably and then slide in our direction. We have what's called a cap in the atmosphere. It's pretty stout right now. On the other hand, we do have a pretty potent upper level wind pattern moving in, a storm in the upper atmosphere that usually works to erode caps, but it may take a while. So it's primarily an evening threat that we're talking about here. And of course, we're always wondering whether tornadoes are going to be a part of that. And the tornado threat was just recently updated so that it gets right up to the Arkansas border there, just shy of the Fayetteville and Bentonville area, but not quite there. That's the 5% area. The rest of the Ozarks are pretty solidly in a 2% area. Unless you're north of the front, way up there around Nevada or Warsaw, you're probably going to be okay. So I actually think that the threat for tornadoes is probably enhanced a little bit more eastwards. So, and I'll explain that in a minute. And let me show you what the guidance for today is from the learning model. So, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, the upper left hand of those four maps where you see the green and the brown, those are tornado probabilities for this evening, and that is a little bit more optimistic about tornado development. So the 5% area spreads all the way up to St. Louis. So we'll see if that actually develops or not. And hail probabilities are pretty high for significant hail. That's the upper right hand portion of the screen. In fact, when these storms first initiate out in Oklahoma, 2-inch hail, maybe even larger, is possible. And some of that may translate later on this evening, especially into extreme northwest Arkansas and southwest Missouri. I want to show you what the model looks like. One model, okay, but it has been fairly consistent. So this is what the radar projection looks like. It's not always the best, but in this case, since I've seen it act about the same way, several different runs here, I think that there's really just a cluster of storms that this is 8 p.m., by the way, this evening, that will move into extreme southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas, give or take a county or two. And I think some of those where you see the kind of pinpoint in the middle there where it turns kind of a yellow color or a lighter white color, maybe, those are going to be the strongest supercells. So I think some of those initially moving up from Oklahoma into northwest Arkansas, maybe extreme southern Missouri, could have really high hail potential with them, 2-inch hail possible, and also a tornado threat that may extend beyond that 2%. I don't know. We'll take a look at it and watch it during the afternoon. So that's not the end of the severe weather. Here it is. This is the Saturday forecast. So South Central Missouri is still included in that. Much of Northwest Arkansas, all of Northwest Arkansas, extending all the way down to Texas. My feeling on that is that the most organized storms will be down in Texas. But I think it's still possible, especially if we can get some heating during the day that peaks through what is forecast to be kind of a cloud deck that comes and goes, but mostly stays over the next couple of days. So, when you heat the ground, it just makes it a little more unstable. If you don't, it kind of lessens the effect a little bit. But Saturday, certainly a day to watch across northern Arkansas and south central Missouri, especially. And the actual thunderstorms themselves will move the front, which is nearly stalled right at or maybe north of the center of that graphic right there. So you see where the green and the yellow goes, and the front will be right in there. But where it ends up specifically, it's forecast to slow down on a large scale. So the thunderstorms themselves will move that boundary around a little bit. And it's really hard to pinpoint where a hot spot for severe weather activity might be tomorrow with regard to the Ozarks. So we'll just have to watch and monitor that very carefully. And then on Sunday, this hasn't really changed much, except it has expanded up to St. Louis and starts down around Shreveport. And this is actually connected with a pretty strong energy wave in the middle part of the atmosphere. So the lift will be there. Instability, again, will be there with, again, another provisional comment that it'll depend on the ability for the sun to come out, how unstable things will get. If this looks familiar, like I said in the previous video, it is because we've dealt with a lot of these situations so far this spring where the severe weather threat kind of starts over Springfield and then gets worse as it spreads eastward later in the evening on Sunday. So that's that part of it. Now, the other part I need you to know is that the rainfall is still forecast to be heavier. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center, the quantitative precipitation forecast, that's what this is, has upped a little bit. I'm not surprised by this. The models are trending toward 5-inch totals. And again, take it with a grain of salt that it's exactly going to be from Bolivar to Joplin, as you see in the map there. But a flood watch is in effect for just about all of the Ozarks really. And so there might be some rain again, maybe around the early part of next week. They may add another inch to this graphic. So keep that in mind as well. So that's the update for today. I'll be looking at the latest model runs later on this afternoon. May take a little tour down to northern Arkansas. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Watching the radar for you. As always, if you like the video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. By doing that, by the way, you always know when I'm going to do one of these videos, go on a storm chase, update anything, maybe do a live radar coverage. Any of those things are possible. So if you want to know that those are going to occur, you have to like and subscribe and then hit the notification bell so that you know when I'm ready to do it. Again, stay safe out there. Hopefully everybody avoids the worst of this, and we'll see you in the next video.